Hi Cancer, my lunar brothers and sisters, welcome to your week ahead Taroscope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, my readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Cancer, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you. With that said, remember they are general readings. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody and that is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So your key to the week this week is the Judgment card. There are changes ahead for you, my dear Cancerians, my lunar brothers and sisters. This is a shift. What I'm also going to say as well, so remember, I pulled the weekly key to the week card directly from the monthly readings. And so the fact that you have the Judgment card here was, that had already come out ages ago. So the fact that this comes up for you and it is the energy of this week as we step into it, you're really being asked here to bring something to a completion. Remember, the Judgment card is a grand close. Yes, can sometimes be a resurrection, but very often this is a moment at which we are supposed to assimilate something so that we can move on. It's very rare that a connection or a reconnection, should I say, is for that specific reason. That being said, this is a powerful card of change and it usually suggests a grand clearing of the decks in some way. So this is going to be a week where you are releasing something and something else is taking its place, as is the law of conservation of energy and space. The universe does not like empty space. So wherever there is one, it will be filled. Make sure it's being filled with the stuff that you want, right? For those of you that are continued subbies, you know I love you for it. And if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit the subscribe button. So you've got the actions and options. You have the Father of Wands. This is actually the King of Wands, sorry, and as an actions and options card, this is about you presenting yourself to the wider world stage. Especially with the Judgment card here, I actually think this is a reinvention of self. So this could be a week where you are ready to emerge out of your little Cancer cave. This could be a week where you are ready to get back to something in a much more powerful way. So wherever your plans, your ideas, maybe your ideals have been derailed in a sense, maybe this is the week where they get back on track. The fact that you have the King of Wands as well means that you are really stepping into yourself this week, and also this is you releasing or getting rid of the fear of being seen to do something that you've either wanted to do for a long time or have needed to do in some way. There's a really nice sense of fulfillment, but it's fulfillment that comes from within this week, not from anything or anyone external. For your communications and conversations, you've got the Daughter of Cups. So this is the Page of Cups. Coupled with the Judgment card, it's not a time sequence, but I'm tempted to use it as one. And so I will split the difference and say this week could be, excuse me, not even at Capricorn yet. This week could be a really powerful time of cleansing, and it's going to be through heartfelt communication this week that you really allow yourself to be freed from some of the trappings that have maybe stopped you from presenting yourself or sharing more of yourself with the world. I don't know why, but there's a feeling here of you making yourself vulnerable, and in doing so, it's like you're releasing something and allowing that release to let you share more of who you are with the world. For those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, that Judgment card, I actually think this is a moment of forgiveness, and I don't think this is a moment of forgiveness that you need. I actually think this is a moment where you're going to forgive somebody that you know that maybe asks for it, or presents you with something where you say, okay, you know what, I can maybe not let it slide, maybe it's always going to hurt, maybe it's always going to piss me off, but actually I can forgive you for this. I can move, I can move the emotional energy around enough to make space for this. For those of you that are yeah, and so this could be like, it could be a professor, it could be somebody that you study with, especially if somebody has either swiped an idea of yours or they've used some of your material without necessarily asking you, etc. It's kind of going to be one of those things where it's like, you know what, now that you've acknowledged it, no harm done. It's just not that big a deal, especially in light of everything that's happening right now. For those of you that are employed by somebody else, again, this whole idea of forgiveness, but I actually think this is you, it's like you're gearing up to close things down before you walk away. So this is you letting go of a job, in the longer term sort of plan, letting go of a job, releasing some place or person from your professional life. For those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, or people that work for themselves, I would wager sorry, I was just having to really figure it out. I would wager that this week your conversation as a business owner is likely to center around what it is that you want to do more of. So it's like you're tapping into the stream of consciousness and saying, you know what, this is what I want more of. And I think you being open about that is going to bring that heartfelt enthusiasm. And as you expand that and you let it kind of fill you up, or you start sort of sharing it with your circle or your people or your employees or even just your peers, I think opening that up is actually going to bring more creativity and also more inspiration your way for the things that you want more of in your business or as part of your offering. For those of you that are retired and no longer working, I think this is a very old wound or a very old hurt that is addressed this week. No pressure. And when it is, I think it's going to, the image that I have in my mind, if you ever saw it, really dating myself here, but if you ever saw the Dark Crystal, you know the whole story behind it, right? There was the massive crystal, and then there was the crystal shard, which was just a tiny piece of this massive crystal, that in order for the whole thing and the whole world to be healed, that shard needed to be placed back in the crystal, because the crystal needed to be healed so that the world was healed. Not unlike some of the themes and narratives that are going on in the world right now, I'm very aware. And if you watch the whole film, there's some stuff in there, man. Seriously, considering it was just like a weird puppet kids film from like the 1980s. So yeah, just really interesting. But for those of you that are retired and no longer working, I feel like this is the addressing of an old wound that is that crystal shard. And once it drops into place this week, it's just going to be a moment of like blip, and it's going to ripple out. And like even now I've got goosebumps, like I've got this wonderful sort of settled feeling in my chest. It's just gorgeous. And I get this feeling, for those of you that are retired specifically, this is an old wound, but for all Cancerians, something this week realigns, and when it does, you will feel a wholeness and a purity you haven't felt for a very long time. For your love and relations, you've got the Eight of Swords. For those of you that are single, where you haven't been seen in relationships past, I think you are ready to talk about. And for those of you that are partnered or married, I think this is a week where you are ready to kind of express. Actually, it's funny, right? So, we call the husband or the wife the old ball and chain. In this deck specifically, look at that. The person is weighted down by a ball and a chain. And I wonder if this is, do you know what I mean? Like, I wonder if this is something to say, actually, something about the relationship does need to be healed or certainly addressed this week. And when it is, it will make all the difference. And it will allow you to shine more as who you are. For your money and materials, you've got the Daughter of Wands. So you've got 2 pages here. 2 pages represents the energy of disquiet. Something that you're doing this week is going to be either disruptive to your industry or disruptive to your life, but it's the kind of disruption that you need that creates or generates more resources. That Page of Wands is you getting really active and saying, right, I want more abundance and this is how I'm going to create it. This is like jumping in with both feet. And with so much healing taking place this week, I think this is like you getting out of your own way. Like, who said I had money blocks? Because I don't, bitch. Do you know what I mean? So you're just putting that to the side. Like, no, we don't do that here. For your physical health and vitality, the Page of Wands is nice. This is picking back up an old hobby. So, but it will be something active. tennis, running, swimming, you know, whatever your thing is. But for a lot of you, I see you going back to some old hobby that keeps you fit and healthy, all right? And you're doing this through an energy of enjoyment rather than punishment. Finally, for your home and environment, this would be a really good time to bring some color or some light into the home. I think you'll get a lot out of it this week. And honestly, with the 2 pages here, I wouldn't be surprised if your home is very busy this week. I really wouldn't, especially like with people just inviting themselves over. And it's kind of one of those weeks where you're just going to be able to, you're just going to have to be like, you know what, it is what it is, come in. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.